Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night. It is 8:05 Eastern. We've got some TNA or NXT. I'm just going to say NXT is on our screen tonight. But tonight we're going to talk pro wrestling here. It's Turnbuckle Talk, episode 415, cheaper by the dozen. I'm Chris Best. I've got OMD alongside me. OMD, brother, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It was, good to get back into the swing of things doing the shows last night after having had last week off. Back to the grind today with work. It was a quiet day, but a good day at work, semi-productive. So I'm here, and I mean, we've got a lot of news to cover, but it's not a lot of WWE related stuff.
Yeah, just a smattering of news over the last, I would say 3-4 days maybe I've seen.
But I do have to ask, how are you dealing with the fact that John Cena broke up with us last night?
I'll deal. I had my comfort food today. I had mashed potatoes, I had some beans, I had steak. That's good comfort food right there.
Yes, it is.
But you know what, since you've mentioned that we got a lot of news going on, let's just get right into it. I'd like to begin off on a somber note, just to get this out of the way right now. We had a tragic event happen at a pro wrestling event in in New Jersey. One indie wrestler, Vince Steele, known as the Jurassic Juggernaut, died after suffering a medical emergency during a match on Sunday. This is according to the Toronto Sun News. According to reports, Steele was participating in a four-way match at a Bree combination wrestling event in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, when the 39-year-old grappler suffered a cardiac event. A fan at the match reportedly shouted, "He's having a heart attack," as the situation unfolded in front of the crowd. During yesterday's event, Vince suffered a medical emergency in the ring. We want to express our deepest gratitude to the Ridgefield Park Police Department, who were on the scene within minutes and immediately provided emergency medical assistance, BCW wrote in a post on X on Monday. Despite their rapid response and the best efforts of the first responders, we tragically lost him. This is an unimaginable loss, and we ask for patience and respect as we process the tragedy. We will share more details in the coming days on how we plan to honor Vince's incredible legacy. Rest easy, Jurassic Juggernaut. OMD, now I know we don't have a lot of history with this gentleman, but this is one of those things where we've talked about it in the past where he was still a brother in arms.
He was. And I mean, this is not something that we typically see or hear about. I mean, yes, these things have happened, but it's also where I, really fear for guys of this size.
Yeah, because he was a big dude in the images I've seen.
You look at a guy like one of our personal favorites, AJ Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and you look at some of the guys that we grew up watching, the Bam Bams, the King Kong Bundys, the Vaders. No, they didn't pass away in the ring, but their health, their size, and I mean, other factors did contribute to their passings.
Mm-hmm. And that's not just for like the bigger guys. We're looking at even some of the older guys, like even Mitsuharu Misawa when he passed away in the ring. His name escapes me now, but he was in a match against Rey Mysterio in Mexico when he passed away. I can't think of his name right offhand.
I can't either. And yeah, he literally fell against the ropes and, Rey hit the 619. It wasn't the 619 that killed him.
Mm-hmm.
He'd passed as he fell into the ropes for that.
Yeah. And it's very tragic. I mean, this guy, how old was it? Did it say 39? He wasn't all that old. But all we can say is rest easy. Rest easy, Vince Steele. You're up there in that big ring in the heaven.
Yep.
And as always, we acknowledge you. Bubba coming in and saying, good evening, guys. Good evening, Bubba. How are you doing today? Just a tragic event, but we had to mention this and give our thoughts and prayers out to Vince Steele, his family, his friends, the people who worked with him in the ring that night as well. And obviously the company that he worked for.
The company, the crowd. I mean, and again, this is not something that we have ever experienced as being fans of this industry.
Right.
With the exception for us of watching what happened to Owen Hart back in 1999 on pay-per-view, we've never seen somebody at a live event pass away.
I actually ordered the Masawa event where he died. Yeah, so I saw that live. That was not cool.
But I'm talking about, you and I, we've never been in the crowd for something.
No. And I really don't want to be a part of that crowd.
No.
But no, again, rest easy, Vince Steele. Didn't know you, but I wish I did,
Yep.
Why don't we move on to some lighter news here? I mean, you sent something to me that interested me about a certain woman going into a Women's Hall of Fame.
Okay. The Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame have announced their class for 2025, and what a class it is. Wendi Richter is among the names announced for the 2025 Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame class. And this is to commemorate Women's History Month. The Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame inductees have been announced. Wendi Richter, the inaugural WWF WWE Tag Team Champion. Desiree Peterson of Canada, again, former WWF WWE Tag Team Champions. The Jumping Bomb Angels.
Yes, that makes me happy knowing them. They're in a Hall of Fame.
Mercedes Martinez.
That makes me happy as well that she's getting recognized.
Former WWE Women's Champion Deborah Marshall.
Stone Cold's ex-wife, for those who don't know. Former wife of Steve Mongo McMichael as well.
Yes. Former TNA champion Angelina Love. Saraya Knight of England.
Believe that's her mom.
That's okay. Still. Former LPWA champion Misty Blue Sims and original Glow Girl Jean Bassone. The Pioneer category will include NWA legend Ramona Isabella. For the non-wrestling category, Dark Journey, ECW originals Dawn Marie, Francine, and Christina Lam of South Korea.
There's also a list of posthumous inductees,
yes,
which include
is.
Little Person, Darling Dagmar, former NWA Tag Team champion Sandy Parker of Canada, Joni Laurer, a.k.a. China.
Yes.
The Wingo Sisters, luchador legend La Dama Enmascarada of Mexico, Olympic I can promise you. Olympic amateur category will include Angie's I'm just not going to
Agnieszka?
Yeah. Of Poland.
Isaac. Yep.
Risako Kinju of Japan and Kaori Ichu, also of Japan.
Yes.
Jesus.
And the Hall of Fame awards include Women's Wrestler of the Year, Thunder Rosa and Rhea Ripley, Women's Tag Team of the Year, the Hex with Marty Bell and Miami Sweet Heat Allison Kay, and Miami Sweet Heat Lindsay and Lori Carlson of WOW. Podcast of the Year is a tie with Women's Wrestling Talk and GAW TV. The Journalist of the Year award has officially been changed to the Jamie Hemming Memorial Award due to her being the first ever to win it, and this year's recipient, TK Trinidad. Broadcaster of the Year, Samira Corey. Amateur Wrestler of the Year, Olympian Fujinami Akari. Announcer of the Year, Samantha Irvin. Best New Talent, Margaret Cresta. Most Improved Wrestler, Tessa Blanchard. Susan Tex Green Award, Natalia. Coach of the Year, Olympian Randy Miller of Texas Women's University. Referee of the Year, this is the only one I see a discrepancy on with Aubrey Edwards. Arm Wrestler of the Year, Sarah Backman. Courage Award, Sis Sasaki. Historian Award, Director of Queen of the Ring, Ash Avildsen. And Rookie of the Year goes to Olympian Tamira Mensah Stock.
Yeah, I've also got some questions regarding that too, but there's regarding Aubrey's choice too, because Jessica Carr's been doing a hell of a lot better than her.
Right?
Not knocking Aubrey and like her achievements pre AEW, but she's gotten a little too cartoonish in my eyes as a referee. But there is more. Owned and operated by ECW Originals, Angel Orsini, Gary Wolfe, award-winning filmmaker Christopher Anino, Vanessa Marchuka, NWA legend Susan Tex Green. Okay, I got to question this one here, but they call her the First Lady of Wrestling, Missy Hyatt. Sorry, she's not. Miss Elizabeth is the First Lady of Wrestling in my eyes.
Yep.
Current ambassadors to the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame are former WWE champion Jazz, Robert Jordan, filmmakers Tom D'Amico, Chris Bornea, official China cosplay Sarah. Oh, they're crediting a bunch of people here, but no, congratulations to everybody on getting those awards there. The big one there for me was the Jumping Bomb Angels. I mean, they're one of the original women's WWF Tag Team Champions. Yeah. And I feel like maybe if you want to recognize some more of the women's, start recognizing some of them WWF Women's Tag Team Champions there, WWE. Jumping Bomb Angels could go in there, WWE Hall of Fame. The Glamour Girls could go in as well.
Right.
But no, everybody here is well-deserved, especially Wendi Richter. I mean, here's a woman who got blacklisted from the WWF and pro wrestling in 1985, or 1986, I mean, and she just could not get her big break again afterwards. I mean, she did go to the AWA afterwards, spent some time there, but good on her, good on the this company for recognizing her. And I kind of, I wouldn't mind seeing more of Wendi Richter on my WWE TV, even if like she shows up as like a trainer or something like that,
Right. This is the first time I've ever heard of the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame. So to have a class with this many huge names, and I'm talking Angelina Love, Deborah, the big one for me that really stands out, because this is a woman that deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame on her own, is Chyna.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100% agree with this one. Basically, everybody on this list, again, with the exception of Aubrey Edwards, not knocking Aubrey, because I thought she was a decent referee before she became very cartoonish.
Right. Anyways, all of the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame inductions will officially air on ECUSA TV on October 25th of this year. And you can either watch live at ecusatv.com/watch live or download the app. Check out the official preview on YouTube. And there is an email address for the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame at gmail.com.
Interesting. You're gonna have to send me the link is in the article anyways. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, this is congratulations. This is a huge moment for women's wrestling in general.
100% agree there. Yeah, I mean, what more can we say about some of these women and the achievements that they've done? I mean, again, Wendi Richter, she was at the forefront of the rock and wrestling movement. WrestleMania 1, she came to the ring with Cyndi Lauper, who, by the way, should also be in this Hall of Fame and the WWE Hall of Fame. She was looked at as the number 2 star at that time. Like Hulk Hogan was the number 1, Wendi Richter was going to be your number 2.
Right.
Vince had plans to push the both of them to the moon.
Yep. Mercedes Martinez, a woman who is still active. The fact that we are going to get Thunder Rosa and Rhea Ripley at this ceremony as well, and they are active.
That made me so happy because I'm a huge fan of Thunder Rosa. She's one of my reasons for attempting to enjoy the women's division in AEW.
Right.
And I'm glad that like this whole thing, like this encompasses all of wrestling, all the women's leagues out there. Like we got NWA represented there, we got TNA, we've got WWE, AEW in Thunder Rosa,
ECW, Ring of Honor,
ECW, Ring of Honor, Glow, the LPWA, and the NWA.
Yep. As well, I'm just seeing this here at the very bottom. There will be one more major surprise induction in September for Appalachian Championship Wrestling and one for ECW Original Jason Knight's Assault Championship Wrestling.
Cool. No, I'm happy for these women. I'm happy that they're getting their just desserts. All of these women, they put their bodies on the line week in, week out, night in, night out. Same thing as the men. These women deserve that recognition just as much as the men do.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at and say, well, why doesn't this Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame have Trish Stratus or a Lita or a Mickie James? With this roster, do you need them going in this year? Do you wait, or have they already been inducted in a previous class? Because we don't know. As I said, this is the first time I've heard of this.
Same here, and I'm gonna do some digging around to find out if they have been recognized. Because I know that Trish was recognized for a few other Wrestling Hall of Fames. I don't remember which ones.
Right.
And I'm fairly certain Lita has been recognized as well. But let's move on from the Hall of Fame news to this kind of strange news. To me, it's strange, but a wrestler has been arrested after appearing suddenly naked with a machete.
Yes, we've had the tragic, now onto the bizarre, and again, downright scary.
I like how this article, by the way, shows an image of what I think it looks like Rico when he was a cop. Just going to point that out.
Right.
But a wrestler has been arrested for threatening an IRS officer and later appearing naked elsewhere with a machete and threatening others. Chris Parrish is coming in and saying, hello, how's it going, Parrish? In an arrest from the Cherry Hill Courier-Post, it was revealed that wrestler Charles Hutton appeared at a New Jersey, again with New Jersey. I mean, we were just talking about Vince Steele earlier. appeared at a New Jersey IRS office in February shouting actual threats. Since then, in a separate incident, he also appeared and waved a machete in the parking lot of a convenience store. Since then, in a separate incident, he also appeared and waved a machete in the parking lot of a convenience store, after which he removed his clothes. The report stated that employees at the Colwick Business Park fled their offices on February 11th, when Charles Hutton allegedly showed up with a backpack and wearing a mask. The Cherry Hill police stated that their dogs had found no weapons. He was charged with terrorist threats for the incident at the IRS office, along with 1 count of harassment on February 10th. Then on March 3rd, Cumberland Crime Watch reported that the record showed that the wrestler showed up at the Sheetz convenience store with a machete, according to Lower Allen, Pennsylvania police. The witness said that he had stabbed the ground and charged customers while he was yelling and taking off whatever clothes he was wearing. He then also stabbed a work van, causing damage. He was disarmed by a Good Samaritan, after which he fled. There's a lot to this article here. The police reported that the machete was found in a trash that a machete found in the trash can can be matched to a picture of Hutton's from his Instagram account, where he was holding the weapon in his mouth. His identity was confirmed with the help of witnesses and his driver's license, and he was arrested on March 7th. The wrestler has reportedly been charged with simple assault by physical menace, disorderly conduct, harassment, and criminal mischief. We thought this was wacky, but holy Christ, it did ever take a turn for the serious.
Right? That's why I said this is the absolute bizarre and terrifying. Now, it doesn't say what company he's worked for or what independent promotions he's worked for. This is a guy that needs to get help, and even then, I don't know if I would trust booking him on a show.
Yeah, I think this gentleman here, he's looking at several years in prison, especially with the terror threats. I do hope he does get the help he needs. But it's hard to say whether or not he wants that help. That's the key, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's also, you know, what was he on? Like, was he drunk? Was he high? No, we do not condone this type of behavior. No, we do not condone getting drunk or getting high and doing stuff like this, ladies and gentlemen. But just, wow, this guy has just lost all control.
Yeah, he, as I said, I do believe that there was something had to have happened for him to get this unstable. Whether he was on something, we don't know. Like, the report doesn't state anything about that. I'm going to do a little bit more digging, follow up on this case. I'm like you, Wendy. I like following true crime cases. This might be one of them that I'll follow. But yeah, I do wish that Mr. Hutton does get the help he deserves or he needs.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this went from bizarre to downright terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, good on that Good Samaritan for being able to disarm him. But maybe that's because of the condition we suspect he was in.
Right.
You know, that it was maybe a little easier to subdue him and disarm him.
Yeah. What do you say we move off from this situation? Because again, there's not a lot of information out there right now, but there will be information in the coming weeks as far as police reports and all that come out. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter here. You've actually sent to me some information, courtesy of Chris Van Vliet, regarding a certain famous comedian who's going to be doing the roast of WrestleMania.
Yes, on Sunday, April 20th, after night 2 of WrestleMania at 10 p.m., the roast of WrestleMania featuring Tony Hinchcliffe and friends. That's all it shows. It's at the Glow Live Theater, which is the same place as the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know much about Tony Hinchcliffe, but and I find this interesting that they are allowing a roast of WrestleMania to go on right after the biggest show of the year.
How much do you want to bet that they're going to actually be roasting this particular event? Tony Hinchcliffe, for OMD, who doesn't know, he is the host of a podcast called Kill Tony. It's a comedy podcast where they bring in amateur comedians and it's kind of like an American Idol, but for stand-up comedians. Okay. If that makes any sense to you. Like they'll have a comedian come in, they'll do their thing, they'll do their shtick, and then Hinchcliffe and company will either roast the guy in funny ways or, you know, give him some advice in funny ways as well.
Okay.
He does have a lot of controversy with him, but which we will not get into because there's a lot out there. Every celebrity has controversy, anyways. I think this is a great step for the WWE to be doing this. If this is a part of the WWE, I got to assume that there's going to be some part of that they're a part of it in some way.
This was something that I had seen a little bit over the weekend that it was being contemplated. Mm-hmm. And then this was broken this morning. So, but I find it funny, like, again, are you going to have the talent who are just coming off of this, you know, hitting the showers and heading back to Blow Live to get roasted? Or are you roasting the event? Are you roasting the crowd? Are you roasting Vegas?
Like I said, I think they're gonna roast the event as a whole, and there's a part of me that wants to tune in and find out, like, because I got to assume it's got to air somewhere, maybe on YouTube or something.
Right.
There's a part of me that wants to see what this is all about, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, yes, good on WWE if they are willing to do this right after their biggest show of the year.
Right. And again, like, what more can be said about this? Tony Hinchcliffe is one of the more popular comedians. Kill Tony is constantly is in that top podcasts to listen to. I know a lot of people who laugh at his work. I haven't had the chance to check out his work. I've been meaning to do it, just never got around to it. But I'm excited. I'll find a way to check this out if there is any way to check it out, unless it's one of those things like what Chris Van Vliet does, where it's just, we're going to do this show. It's not going to be broadcast anywhere. It's just for the audience there.
Right.
But yeah.
And then you sent something in today to us, and this is a former WWE champion returning to the ring.
Yeah. So I clicked on this one, right? Because there's actually two wrestlers that are rumored to be going back to the ring. And I clicked on this one thinking it was the other wrestler, but I'm actually completely shocked at this one. Longtime wrestling fans who know and love this woman, Mickie James, is coming back to the ring, folks. She's going to be partaking in she's going to be returning to in-ring competition at the WrestleCon Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show on April 17th, where she's going to be facing Maki Ito just 2 days before WrestleMania 41. This marks her first match since September 2024, when she teamed with Shelly Benson to defeat Havoc and Mila Moore at IWR 31 Aftermath. James, as we all know right now, she is a coach on the first season of WWE LFG on A&E. However, she is reportedly going to be replaced by Michelle McCool when the second season starts to roll. This tells me that maybe Mickie is looking at going back to the ring.
Yeah, and I mean, she's been working with OVW a lot lately as well. So I think that, doing what she's doing with OVW, doing the LFG, I think she's got that fire burning again, and she now wants her last rodeo maybe in WWE. We saw her have that run in TNA. Maybe this is what she wants now.
Yeah, Parrish is coming in saying she left. Apparently so, because like it says here, her last match was back in September. I don't remember her like ever announcing that she was leaving the ring or anything of that nature, but this is where we're at. She's returning to in-ring competition. Sorry, you were saying OMD.
So she's done all this work. I believe she did some work with NWA as well, and was trying to sort of mend fences, I guess, so to speak, with TNA for Billy Corgan.
Yeah, but as we know, she's going to be replaced for the second season by Michelle McCool. WWE nor the network has announced when that new season will start. Despite her accomplishments in the ring, Mickie James, she's one of those women that WWE, if you're going to induct a woman, please make it her.
Yep. And I mean, again, the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame. I know I mentioned Mickie James earlier tonight when we were discussing that.
Yeah.
So again, we have to look into that and see.
Just give me 1 second here, Ezekiel.
I did find out.
I found the other wrestler that is also has also made his in-ring return after a 10-year absence.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Our former Intercontinental Champion Ezekiel Jackson is back in the ring.
Yes, he wants to now sort of go out on his terms. Now, he's been training students and he has his own school.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Ezekiel Jackson is returning to the ring.
He returned. He actually had a match last weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he competed at the FWE Full Throttle event in North Carolina on Saturday, March 15th, facing off with Psycho Boy Fodder and Sylvain in a triple threat match. The result of the match is, at this time, it's not known. But you know what? I'm actually happy that Ezekiel Jackson is back in the ring. I liked Ezekiel Jackson when he wrestled. I wanted something more out of him, but it just at that time it wasn't there, you know?
No. Ezekiel Jackson to me was that new age Ahmed Johnson. And now you see that, except much better.
Much safer.
Yes. And then you look at, a guy like Moose who actually did something with his size and learned the craft a little more so than even Ezekiel did. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel did have runs in WWE, in TNA, but never overly successful.
Other than, like I mentioned, the Intercontinental title run, he was a former ECW champion. Those are the only belts I can remember him actually winning.
Yes. And I believe he was the final ECW champion.
He was, before they folded that up and they put him over on SmackDown and then put him in the core. I think he was with Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, who's another guy who I wouldn't mind seeing back in the ring, and Heath Slater.
Yes. As well, he also had a run with Brian Kendrick as his bodyguard.
Yes, and that's where I really started to like Ezekiel Jackson, because I thought the dynamic between him and Spanky, I'm going to call him Spanky. I thought the dynamic that they had between them two really worked. You had this big, like, tough, serious dude, and then you had Brian Kendrick coming out all small, all cocky, like, hide behind the big muscle man, because the big muscle man's going to beat you up and I'm going to be saved by him,
Right.
I liked that. I liked that dynamic. And I wish that there was more with Ezekiel. When they released him, I was bummed out by it.
I was disappointed. I can't say I was surprised. And then it's sort of, yes, he's disappeared into obscurity, but like I said, he has been, training up and comers. He's got his own school. So good for him staying active in the business. And then, yes, he wants to go out on his own terms. So I don't know if this is a 1-year run or what this is.
Yeah, I'm just reading up a little bit more. He's only 46 years old, so I don't see it happening, but there's nothing saying that one small run in the WWE would help him out. But at the same time, I don't think fans would remember him as hardcore fans like you or I would remember him,
Right.
But again, I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that he, as you had said, he's been doing training, which I didn't even know he was doing. Good on him that he's stuck with the wrestling business in some capacity or another.
Absolutely.
But it totally took me by surprise when I'm like, Ezekiel Jackson. I'm like, and I saw this while I was compiling this some of the stories yesterday for the show. And I'm like, is that newsworthy? Is that newsworthy? And then the Mickie James story comes up. I'm like, okay, let's combine the two. You know?
Yeah. No, that's
but good on the both of them. I'm glad Mickey's coming back to the ring, despite she was only absent for a handful of months. But Ezekiel Jackson was one guy like I didn't expect that he would come back to the ring.
Right. Now with Mickie James, like her role both with NWA as well as OVW was always in more of a backstage capacity and not as a competitor. She was doing, I believe, like the producing and running the women's division, but not actually competing.
There's a part of me that's telling me that if she does step in between the ropes for OVW, her and Hollywood Haley J, give me that match, please.
Right.
Just gonna put that out there because I still think Hollywood should be in the WWE.
Right, 100%.
But yeah, I'm tremendously. I'm excited about Ezekiel Jackson. I'm excited about Mickie James. I'm happy that because that's the one thing I've always said about wrestlers. Even if you don't make a big mark, there's a part of me for every wrestler that comes in. I want to see every wrestler succeed. And I know every wrestler can't succeed, but there is other ways that you can succeed without having being in the ring.
Right.
And maybe that's how Ezekiel Jackson sees him. Because now that you've told me that he's been working as a trainer, that's my way of seeing him as succeeding in this business.
Yeah. I mean, if he's been running a school and doing this for 10 years, I don't know what names he's trained.
Mm-hmm. But he's found his way. He's found his way for giving back to the business, and I respect that.
Yes. One that's maybe not huge news. This was something that did come out. This is actually some AEW news. And this is AEW is contemplating unifying two titles, which I think would be a great thing for them.
They've got too many belts as it is.
Yes. But I believe it's the Continental and the International title, which are held by Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. Now, discussions about merging these titles have been ongoing for several months, and many within AEW viewing it as a concrete creative direction. The specifics of the unification process, such as whether the titles will be merged into a singles championship or carried together, remain unclear. And additionally, if it is uncertain if a match between Okada and Omega is a part of these plans.
Yeah, and this is the discussions for this um, have been ongoing since the retirement of the FTW title in September 2024, which I'm kind of glad that that belt's gone. Just didn't make any sense for that belt to be involved. I know Hook was heavily involved with that title.
You
But
know what?
I'm glad that there's this possible discussion of unifying all the belts, because as I said, there's just way too many of them in
There is.
AEW.
There is.
And the same could be said for the WWE, but at least with the WWE, they're making us care for all of the championships that are going on right now.
Right. Right. What I liked about the FTW title was what it represented, because you had that history with Taz, who introduced it as a part of his Team Taz faction when he had the group. So yes, Hook was heavily involved. Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints, was heavily involved.
Chris Jericho was also involved in that, having that feud with Hook over the belt.
Yes. So you're looking at this, and I love it. But how do you not build on that history between Omega and Okada without a unification match? And I do think that you're better off to make it one title as opposed to carrying the two together.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on that one. I'm unify those titles. Give it a different name. Don't call it the Intercontinental, because like that's I'm pretty sure that's
I don't
WWE.
think you can. Well, New Japan has an Intercontinental title as well.
That's true too. And again, you talk about the history of Omega and Okada. I mean, just go back in New Japan and you'll see just how great a matches those dudes put on there. I do hope that if this match does come to fruition, I do hope that they put on a great match for AEW. Will I watch it? Probably not, because I can't afford AEW pay-per-views.
Right. And I did actually look into watching AEW's last pay-per-view on Prime last weekend. And I went in to do it, and I would have had to pay $56.99 for it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I because I did the same thing. I'm like, yeah, can't do it. Sorry.
You can get it free as part of the sports package.
I don't know if I want to pay that though, because I've got sports packages on regular TV as it is, so I'm good.
Right.
And I'm paying $3 for those packages.
Right.
So Bubba coming in saying AEW sucks. Who cares? The fans care, Bubba. The fans care.
Yeah. We're not here to trash AEW. We want everybody to just enjoy wrestling.
Yeah. But yeah, this I really do think a title unification. I think a bunch of title unification should be happening. They should also learn to separate, because I know that they defend the ROH titles on Dynamite and all that.
Yep.
With the possibility of that ROH TV deal, I keep hearing rumblings about, they should actually fully move those ROH titles to be on ROH shows specifically. Yep. If you're a wrestler who appears on AEW, sure, show up with the ROH championship if you're holding one, but don't defend it on that show.
Right. I personally think you need to, we saw it at one time. They had the AEW versus the Ring of Honor. Both brands have trios champions, but why you didn't unify them? Mull, or merge everything, and then have the belts defended across both.
Yeah, because if you do that, then on AEW, for instance, you'll have, like, again, you mentioned the trios title, you'll have maybe a 6-man tag or to compare it to SmackDown, we'll say SmackDown's got like one of the hottest tag team divisions going right now. You could have because they also have like a ton of guys on their roster. You could have like 4 or 5 trios guys fighting for that chance at that title.
Right? I mean, I look at the Ring of Honor Trios champions and their tag team champions. Well, their Trios champions are Dustin Rhodes with Ross and Marshall Von Erich. The Ring of Honor tag team champions are Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara.
I think I might need to look into a little bit of context as to why Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes are teaming together. that just shows how far out of touch with AEW I actually am.
Yeah, I haven't seen Sammy Guevara on AEW TV in months. He's been working ROH.
Yeah, but on that note, again, if this does come to fruition, please AEW do it with your other belts. You've got way too many of them. Unify them, and then now you build, as it said in the article, your championship landscape. You take your guys, like your top guys, we'll say, for like your Chris Jericho, as your Kenny Omega, as your Kazuchika Okadas, and you build those list of contenders for like the AEW World Heavyweight title or this unified Continental title with the other one. I already forgot the name of it.
Well, there was it's the International and the Continental.
Yeah. Now you unify those, and then you take maybe 10 guys for 10 of your mid-card guys and build that up. Now you've got your list of contenders there, and then you've got your AEW tag team titles there. Build up your contenders for that and make us care for the stories that you're trying to tell us by building these contenders up.
Yeah, please.
But I think since we're closing in on that 1 hour mark, I think it is time for our, I was going to say our Showcase Showdown, but this is not The Price is Right.
It is not. It is time for the Showstopper segment.
On his feet. Oh, my God in heaven.
Yeah, so over the last few days, we've seen news that TNA Wrestling has announced a lower price point as far as their TNA Plus subscription goes.
Yes. I want to give a credit to our friend the Bulkster, who was the first to bring this news to us. And I'm not sure if he did it in the Turnbuckle Studios employee chat or in the Boar's Nest chat.
He did it in the general chat. That's where I saw it. And I want to credit Bubba, because Bubba was the one who told me about the news when we covered Brace for Impact, which you can catch Thursdays at 8 p.m. Shout out to you, Bubba. And you, OMD, because I know you're a co-host on that show. But yeah, they dropped... See, Bubba, I was giving you credit there.
You did. Mr. Best gave you all the credit in the world.
Yeah, so... They've dropped the price. The annual price used to be $220, $219.99. Dropped at $60 to $159.99. This plan will include all of the pay-per-view events: Genesis, Rebellion, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, exclusive TNA Plus live specials, which included Sacrifice from this past week, TNA weekly shows, Impact, Explosion, and full access to the TNA Plus content library, including TNA Plus originals, such as Immersed and Joe Hendry's Food Fight. I got to look that up.
Right?
Seasonal, which is a new thing that they're introducing, which is $49.99 for 3 months, including all content plus live pay-per-view events during the subscription period. Exclusively available during limited order windows. TNA's first seasonal pass will be available through 12 a.m. April 11th. So it's only a limited time that they're going to be having this particular billing tier. The monthly, however, remains at $9.99 a month. $9.99 a month. This is all US dollars, by the way.
Yes.
Providing access to exclusive TNA Plus live specials, Impact, Explosion, and the full TNA Plus content library. So if you're paying that monthly fee, you don't get the pay-per-views.
Right.
They're saying we're thrilled to introduce these new plans as a way to continue supporting our fans. Carlos Silva, president of Anthem Sports, has said, by significantly reducing our annual price and introducing a seasonal pass, we're making it easier than ever for fans to enjoy all the action TNA has to offer, including our biggest pay-per-view events. They asked, so we're delivering. Good on them for this one. This is actually the first time in a long time that I've seen a streaming service lower their prices.
Right? This is huge for the wrestling industry. And I'm wondering, again, if this is not just Anthem, but because we know that TKO and Endeavor actually run Impact Plus. I wonder if this is, again, part of that partnership.
Well, actually, TNA Plus, TKO and Endeavor don't run TNA Plus. They help to stream it. They give them like the tools, as it were, to help the stream. Anthem Sports still owns all the TNA properties.
From what I understood when this came out, TKO and Endeavor were taking over Impact Plus and running it.
Well, it's also similar to the WWE network, right? It was still WWE owned, but the MLB network ran it. That's something you probably didn't know.
No, I did not.
Yeah, MLB and WWE were once partnered, guys.
That's why Sting had so many baseball bats.
Yeah, he got all the funding from them. No, this excites me. I'm still a little bummed out now that I've read that the $9.99 does not cover the pay-per-views. I still think the $9.99 is actually a good deal because you get those TNA Plus specials. So you do get like Sacrifice, for instance, which was an event that I really wanted to watch. Impact Explosion and the TNA Plus content library, which I would have to assume includes all of the classic TNA events, including the weekly pay-per-views that I spent way too much money on when they first came out. I swear. I bought every week, so I was spending like $40-$50 a month just on TNA.
Right. So yes, this is huge. And I mean, it says the new pricing structure represents substantial savings for fans. The annual pass saves subscribers $60 a year, $40 compared to purchasing 4 seasonal passes, and $120 compared to subscribe to the monthly subscriptions with separate pay-per-views.
Yeah. And again, this is the $60 drop. That's fantastic that they did that. It's still out of my personal price range for now.
Right.
For now.
Right. Due to the fact that it's only through April 11th, I'm going to have to look. Now, I do get another paycheck I've got 2 more paychecks, or 1 more paycheck before the 11th of April, so I will see where I'm at there.
But I'm very much considering getting the subscription service. I'm looking at that seasonal one, which is every 3 months, and I'm weighing my options on that one. I gotta figure out finances on that one. It's probably going to be a no-go, but we'll see.
Yeah. Because I mean, 160. I mean, US dollars is probably a little bit out of my price range, but I mean, like, I know we've got different tiers for Netflix here between Canada and the US.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Because Anthem is Canadian owned.
Yes, it is. But no, this is I'm happy that they did this. I'm happy that the price lowered. Because you know me, I'm a money saver. I am not. I don't get happy when I see price increases. So to see a streaming service actually lower their prices as opposed to the streaming services that we have seen raise their prices. I'm looking at you, Disney, for raising your prices recently. I'm looking at Netflix, who also did the same thing.
Yep.
Prime still hasn't on my side yet.
No, I actually, it's funny. I paused my Prime the other day, so I didn't just delete my account.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it on my TVs. I turned on Prime on my tablet last night, and I got it no problem. And I still got billed for it the other day too, because I've been getting billed for 2 accounts because they won't let me close one.
That's weird. They did that for me. They discovered for some reason I had 2 Prime accounts, and they're like, "Which one do you want to cancel?" I'm like, "Well, which one has the older purchases on it? Cancel that one. I don't use that one. I'm using the one with all my recent purchases on there."
Right? So, but yes, this is exciting. And I mean, for guys like us, for you, for me, for Carl, for Bubba, for Parrish, this is huge because it just opens up far more wrestling content for us to watch.
Again, money saving. There's one thing I'd like for you to do if you are going to do this. Find out if they have a screen share option.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what we're going to share right now? Everything we've got going on with the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Take a look, guys.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we got total non-stop action with Brace for Impact at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
Yeah, and if you want all your information as far as the affiliation program goes, all you got to do is just visit affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. There you'll be able to reach out to myself, OMD, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish, Carl, or Carl Carafel for all your podcasting needs, or if you want to maybe connect with us and do a little bit of a collaboration. OMD, my friend, where can the people... Oh, you've got the loop going on. Okay, so if you want to be able to purchase some of our things here, you can visit us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com. There you'll be able to find anything from all of our shows here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. See, we have a comment here. All right. OMD still got the loop going on in his head, so he's giving me the 1 minute sign, and there's the loop. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do my socials. If you want to look for me, you can find me at Linktree, lanktr.ee/Chris_best83. I'm going to go ahead and do OMDs because we are coming up on that 1 hour mark as well. If I can find it. He's got his link tree, which is lanktr.ee/OMD show. And on that note, as the one Carl Carafel would say, ladies and gentlemen, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.